put wedding veil material in my garden. That is if you like green. I did. And let's talk about why. Why, hello everybody. This is Robbie from Southern California. And I want to put together this short video on an issue I have in my truck bed. And the issue I've got is snails and slugs. That is the biggest problem I've got right now. Now, as you can see, it doesn't seem to bother the Swiss chard that came up from seed. And nothing seems to be, hurting that. The few snails occasionally, no big deal for the Swiss chard. It just keeps on going. But I have been trying to get squash growing in here. Now, I've been planting it from seed, not from, plants that were started in the house. And the seeds would come up. You'd get these beautiful little tiny squash plants coming up, 2 or 4 little leaves, and then the next day I'd come back and they'd be gone. It didn't matter if I planted it directly into the soil here or if I planted it in this container, which is leaching into the bottom of the truck bed here and feeding it as it's full of kitchen scraps and stuff. They came up in there and the next day they would be gone. So after going through it, I figured it wasn't roly-polies. That's another issue we'll get into. It was snails. Snails can climb up anything. They slither up the sides of metal like this truck bed. They slither up plastic and glass. They can find their way in. So there was only one way to get rid of the snails besides coming out here and hand picking them constantly, which I was doing, was now to think of something else. And what I did was I used my handy dandy tool. It was so simple. I just cut a piece of tulle. I laid it across the top, opened it up. They're 54 inches wide, so they really are really wide. Laid it on top, pulled it, and tied it. It was literally this easy. This is tulle, comes on a bolt, 40 yards long. Just take the amount you need. I want that much. It's so cheap. The whole thing is $10. You cut off what you need with the scissors. Now it is this easy. Pull it tight. You can use a rubber band to start it, or just a string. If you want, you can put it on with masking tape, but I want to be able to take it off when I don't need it anymore. I use a piece of yarn. Put it around. A surgical knot, so you go around one extra time. And a bow. That's it. I am done. No snails can get into this at all now. There is no way a snail can get into it. Just make sure you don't leave any snails in it. That's it. It's only a bow, so I can take it right off. And guess what? The plants, I had some little transplants that were starting. They're still there. The snails cannot get in. They don't even like crawling on tulle. They will. So it will not completely stop the snails and the slugs. They will crawl on it, but they reluctantly crawl on it. But they can't get in. There is no way they can get in now. They cannot go through the tulle. So what the tulle is going to do for me is now I can get these plants to start, and I'm going to plant different types of squash in there. The plants are going to take over, hopefully, the truck bed really soon, like they did years ago. But once they start getting their more mature growth, the snails don't tend to eat squash plants like that, but they love the new tender leaves. So now I'm going to get that started. I don't have to worry about the snails. Let the squirrels or whoever eats them, I know that skunks eat them, let them come and eat them. And if I see the occasional snail, I toss them out. But now I've got that going. I'm going to put another container here. I'm going to get my squash plants growing here. That's why containers are so valuable to me. I have so much control over a tote. This is a round container. You can use any container you want. It's plastic, it's round, and it's been cut in half. The top half is somewhere else. I believe here, yes I do, I've got the bottom half and it's full of holes. You'll see I drilled many, many holes. And what it's going to do is, this is full of kitchen scraps, and then it's topped with the soil that I had, a lot of native soil here. And I covered it now because I planted many squash and they would all come up, and the young, tender, beautiful little squash were going to be eaten overnight. Well, now they're going to get bigger, and as soon as they're bigger, this tool is just going to be quickly taken off because it's only a bow, and then the squash will grow and they'll do its thing. So if you've got an issue with snails, a really bad issue, and you don't want to use poison and all that, if you put containers on the ground and start your plants in containers, cover them. Once the plants start getting their big mature leaves, you should not have that many problems with snails at that point. You can uncover them and they will take off. This will give them a fantastic start. You can use it a lot of different ways, the tools, but this is one way, and tool is Tulle. I'll put a link to where I get mine. I buy it online. I hope they hold their price. I've been buying it for the past 2 years. It's $10 for an entire bolt, and they have all different colors. This is kind of an emerald green, and I like the hunter green. It's a darker green, but I wanted to do this so you guys can see it because it's really bright. Gary uses red sometimes in his garden so he can find the fruit that he's covering in his garden. But you can buy any color you want, and it's 54 inches wide. It's 40 yards. 40 yards. And let me tell you, outside, I've got some in the front yard. You've seen it. It's going on over 2 years. So it lasts a long time. So when I take this tool off, when I'm done with it, probably in the next few weeks, I do not throw this away. I use this somewhere else and move it to maybe one of the other containers that are up against the wall if I'm having issues. And you just keep using it until it finally falls apart. And it will last for years. Just, roll it up, throw it in a bucket somewhere, keep it dry, and then go back and collect it and use it somewhere else. But today I just wanted to show you how tool works perfect to keep snails out. They cannot get underneath. There's no way. It's tied. You can do this on a square container. You can do it on a round one. This particular one I put in the truck bed is round. It doesn't matter. Just tie it tight. You could use masking tape or duct tape, but then you have to cut it to take it off. I just used yarn. Remember, yarn is made to go in a washing machine and dryer. And I have found that good old-fashioned yarn that you would knit a sweater, that will go for also many years in the garden. String tends to fall apart. A lot of it is cotton, and so it's eaten by nature because anything that was nature goes back to nature. But yarn that's got, probably has nylon in it, it will last longer and you can reuse that. I do not throw the yarn away. I repurpose my yarn, and I will be repurposing the tool. So I hope I've given you some ideas if you've got a snail issue. When you're planting on the ground, there's not much you can do with snails. You could drape your plant and tie it around your plants where the snails can't get to it. There are different ways of doing it. But when you're container gardening, and especially starting new young seedlings, you can plant your seeds right in there, cover it with tool. You can easily water it and maintain it as they start to grow. And then once they get big and they start to push the top of the tool up, take the tool off and you should be good to go. Hope I've given you an idea on snail issues. Get some tool if you need it. One bolt will probably last you, like I said, $10 free shipping. I've been buying it for years and I'm absolutely in love with it. I actually bought some more recently because I'm going to be doing a lot of gardening this year and I want to protect the plants as much as I can. So I hope I've given you some ideas. Have a great day and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody.